And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line, the Hump Day, June 30th, final day of the month edition. Glad to have you. We're going to the phone lines early this morning. Bill Bender is joining us. Bill, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lanny. How are you?
I'm good. You know what's happening, Bill? It seems like every week there's a major undertaking going on, and I've never seen things evolve so fast. I want to go first. Today, supposedly, there's going to be some type of vote inside the NCAA to come out with some guidelines for this name, image, likeness, because there's 19 states going to put it into law that these kids can do it tomorrow. Do we ever get this genie back in the bottle, or are we going to completely lose control?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to happen that we have name, image, and likeness, and there'll be a handful of deals that happen tomorrow, and they're not going to be able to crack down on it this year, but it'll be interesting to see if they can come up with some sort of uniform legislation for all of that kind of stuff, and that's where it's going.
Yeah, but I guess where I guess my concern is, now that states have made it legal, is the NCAA going to be able to control it after the ruling from the Supreme Court that said, look, you don't have a monopoly. You can't tell these people what to do.
Well, I mean, that's certainly possible. I mean, and state by state, there's going to be different laws, and then, conference by conference, there could be different laws. So there's a lot going on there. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack, but I think in general it's going to be a good thing for student athletes.
And I do too, and it's not going to come from the this doesn't come off the backs of the universities. This is supposed to come from third parties. Now, for Rembert, who helps out with us on certain days, his biggest concern is, and he shared a picture with us yesterday, what about these kids that say, well, I'm not getting paid because my coach didn't let me play? Do we start to have all kind of just weird things happening?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what comes with it. That happens in the NFL. There could be some weird things that happen. Definitely, a couple of those things are going to be at play. I mean, you've heard some coaches talk about how it might throw up the locker room a little bit, and I can't say it will, but I can't say it won't. I mean, you see some people scoffing at that notion, but if somebody's making money and, other people aren't. I think in general, though, that student athletes understand that they're going to understand that certain guys are going to be able to make more than others. It's no different than any other sport.
Hey, Bill, can you explain to us and to our viewers and listeners what's happening with Wisconsin? And one of their players, I think the quarterback, coming up with his own logo to get started on this. Could you kind of explain that to us?
I mean, you're going to see things like that.
Okay.
Obviously, Graham Mertz came up with his own logo, no different than what Tom Brady and Tiger Woods do. Now, will Graham Mertz hats sell off the shelves outside of Wisconsin? I doubt it. But these are the type of things that they're allowed to do now. So it's just about building your brand. You hear that phrase constantly, whether it's on social media or elsewhere, and this will allow athletes to do that a little more.
Do you think, Bill, that when you talk about this NIL, that when it comes to recruiting, do you think there will be as much, I don't want to say cross-country, do you think some of the kids will stay closer to home, knowing that they can build their brand in their local area and maybe go to a school like an Ohio State if they're from Ohio?
Well, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that one. Certainly could happen that way, that you can build your brand closer to home. But I think with the major recruits, the 4- and 5-star guys, that they'll be able to build their brand wherever, and they're still going to go where they're going to develop into the NFL players the fastest. But certainly, I mean, that would be an appealing factor for kids that are close to home. But I'm kind of thinking of Ohio State, for example. One of their 5-star kids was from here in Pickerington, Jack Sawyer. He's a freshman. He's going to do a really good job, and now he can do some things like that.
When you look at it, Bill, is this going to get into a situation? We're already seeing it. I got a press release about 2 days ago from the Charlotte 49ers that they have reached an agreement with a company that's going to help them assist their kids in developing their brands and all that type of thing. Is this going to get into a situation that is not going to be regulated, but really it's some sort of an agency, is it not, with an agent if they go out with a third party?
No, I think from the compliance side, the hope is that they disclose everything so they can keep everything on the up. And I know that's one of the concerns is that the compliance officers are worried that, kids that they have trouble getting them to fill out the ticket forms for a game aren't going to disclose all these transactions that they make. And I think that's a legitimate concern because you want to keep everything from a tax purpose and all those kind of things kosher. So I think it's definitely one of the concerns for them, and it's not going to be perfect, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be the Wild West right away.
How low does it go, Bill, as far as when you start thinking about the levels of sports? Does it get outside of football and basketball? Does it go down as low as say, FCS football and basketball, or even down into Division II, Division III?
I think it'll get down to high school eventually, because and it will, but it just depends on who the stars are. If your school has a star softball player, they may be able to capitalize off that. Some of these guys that we've been watching the College World Series, they're on ESPN too, and it's something that we watch in the summer. And for example, Rocker, the Vanderbilt pitcher, this would be great for him. And those are the things that the student athletes it's going to help is those ones who probably have more fame in college than they do when they get to the pros.
I was going to ask, what do you think about it trickling down to some of the other, I want to say, well, even the Olympic sports? Somebody that's, trying to vie for the Olympics, they could come up with a way to, I guess, build their brand, more than just, football and basketball and some of the other major sports.
Yeah, that's the trick. Is this is the summer to do that as well for some of the Olympic athletes that are going to move on to Tokyo this summer. And I think it will help, and obviously there'll be a handful of athletes that really latch on there. What I think is going to happen, obviously, is in the beginning there's going to be businesses that do it, and then maybe they back off a little bit when they don't see that this is helping them that much. You know what I mean? So there's going to be ebbs and flows to it, and again, there's a lot of unknowns, and I know these are vague answers, but I'm not sure anybody knows how this is really going to look.
Bill, the other thing, you did an article ranking the top college coaches that are coming up, and of course, you had Nick Saban and Dabo at 1 and 2, but you say that now it's starting to get a little more muddied as you get down through the list. But at the same time, I see some of these coaches that you've got ranked that could potentially get on the hot seat, namely a Mac Brown, because there's a lot of expectations coming out of Chapel Hill. Ed Ogeron again at LSU, wanting him to stay up at the top of the heap. That can be a blessing and a curse, can it not?
Well, I think Mac's done a fantastic job in his first 2 seasons at North Carolina, given where that program was when he got there, and now the expectations have ramped up. But he's a top 10 coach to me. 3 through 7 is pretty interchangeable. Whether you pick Kirby Smart or Jimbo or Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, or Brian Kelly, all of those guys are interchangeable to me. And Jimbo's the only one of those guys with a natty, but that's what my Twitter timeline has been fighting about since yesterday, is a lot of people think Kirby should be number 3, and that's fair. But the other 4, you can make a case for any one of them.
Now, see, I see Kirby as being one of those that's really on the hot seat because Georgia is one of those that really have those expectations high, and I think that's why Mark Richt was kind of run out of there, and other coaches have done that because they can't quite get over the hump. I don't see anybody coming out of the East until Nick retires.
Well, that's the problem. Kirby's had a ton of success, and in theory, if he keeps doing what he's doing, they'll win a national championship because he's been recruiting at a high level. They've had great teams, but that Alabama hurdle still stands in their way. And then Ryan Day's another one. I think, people say, well, he should be higher or he should be lower. He inherited Urban's guys. Well, guy's only lost 2 games in 2 years and change as a head coach, and they're to Clemson and Alabama. So it's not like he's doing a bad job. He's recruiting at a ridiculous level for the Buckeyes.
Hey, Bill, who's the hot coach in your list? Somebody that's kind of an up-and-comer, somebody that's needs to be watched and putting a program together and can be rising up the coaching ranks?
I mean, Jamie Chadwell is moving up the Coastal after the year he had last year. Bill Clark's been steady at UAB. A lot of people like him. So those are 2 that come to mind. And then, there's several guys like that. I mean, even Hugh Freeze, who's kind of reclaimed his career a little bit at Ole Miss, continues to move up and do well. And I think those are a couple guys to watch in terms of every time the Power 5 cycle turns, they're trying to land that big job.
Tom Allen at Indiana is one of those that comes to mind to me as well. That's not exactly a powerhouse football, but he seems to be doing well, and it looks like some of those guys go into some of these schools and kind of resurrect the program, but they can't get it over the hump. They have to go somewhere else that's maybe got a little deeper tradition.
Well, I mean, Tom Allen had a great season, and he's kind of built that program brick by brick and, doing a nice job at Indiana. The problem is he's going to have to do it again. I mean, we have Pat Fitzgerald ranked number 12 because he's hit his stride at Northwestern. I mean, 3 of the last 4 years they've been really good. Now, if Indiana goes 5-7 or 4-8 this year, Allen would probably drop, and they're easy to discard coaches like that when they have a bad year.
You talk about Mac Brown. He's not getting any younger. How long do you see him really staying in that Chapel Hill position?
As long as he can. I think he definitely has taken a page from what he did there last time. They're recruiting NFL players. I think as long as the recruiting's good, he's having fun, he can physically do it, he'll be around there for a while. Same with Saban. I mean, those guys are around the same age. And as long as they can do it and have fun and not become a liability, then, 3, 4, 5 more years, who knows? But
you talk about Kirby Smart, and I'm thinking that one of the things that's really going to start to put the heat on Kirby is going to be Dan Mullen out of Florida, because he seems to be doing a lot of things down there, and if Florida would happen to kind of take the lead on the eastern side of the Southeastern Conference, it really would put the squeeze on Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, that's really becoming the most heated rivalry in college football in a lot of ways, because they're 2 top 10 coaches. They play every year. They're in the same division. I mean, that's probably, in my opinion, the biggest game in college football in the regular season in a lot of ways, because it determines who's going to win the SEC East, and it has for the last 5 seasons. So, and Dan Mullen, obviously, 3 New Year's Day 6 appearances. There are people that don't like him and don't like his personality, but, I mean, he's 29-9 since he took over at Florida, and the results kind of speak for themselves.
Hey, Bill, what's the latest on the expansion for the college football playoff? It's kind of gotten quiet right now. They've all gone back to their schools and explaining what are some of the options. What's up next?
I mean, they're going to review it for a while. It's going to be a while before there's an update on that. I think they've got a lot of tape to cut, so to speak, and to refine that model. But I do think that model's here to stay. It's going to end up what they do. I mean, that's going to be the model. So we'll just see how long it takes for them to cut that tape and get it into action.
I think one final question for you. You had done a college football prediction for 2021, and you've got Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. What's your thinking on those other 2? I think even 3 seem to be solid with Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. It seems that 4th one is the one. Is this the year for Lincoln Riley?
Well, I mean, they're going to have a ton of offensive firepower back with Spencer Rattler, their running game, good receiver, and Marvin Mims. So, they're going to be pretty good. But winning it all is tough. But, I mean, most playoff predictions are going to have those 4 teams. There may be a couple that go with a Georgia or a Notre Dame or somebody cute like Iowa State. But by and large, you're going to get 2 or 3 of those teams right no matter what.
Bill Bender, Sporting News, as always, thanks for juggling the schedule and getting on with us. I appreciate it, and we'll be catching up with you again.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Bill. That's Bill Bender, Sporting News. And Juju, there's so many questions, and the other thing that we didn't even touch on is how much does this new name, image, likeness rear its ugly head and pressuring on coaches as well? Dealing with those egos, dealing with those, with the other things that you've not had to deal with in the past.
I think the good ones will be able to adjust and it won't affect them. I think as you guys talked about a little bit, I think with some coaches when they are on the hot seat or having some issues, then it may affect them differently. Personally, I just think some of this is it'll iron itself out, and some of it's been overblown. I just don't think they're going to be a whole lot of athletes. A small percentage will be able to take advantage of all this, and I don't think a whole lot of people, athletes in all the sports, are going to be able to do that. I think it's going to be a small group in several sports. That's why I brought up the Olympics. I think if you're an Olympic athlete and you got a name already and you're already going to one Olympic cycle and you're getting ready to go through another Olympic cycle, then you already have that brand built and you have 4 years to build it. I think they might be able to benefit, but for the second string offensive lineman or the second string wide receiver, it's not going to make that much of a difference, if any.
Brandon brought up a name, and this was when we were talking about up-and-coming coaches. And Brandon, I got to be honest with you. I don't understand all the hoopla and excitement around this guy. I'm missing something somewhere. Maybe I just haven't done my research, and that's Will Healy out of Charlotte. He's young, but his name always pops up. I was trying to think, where did it pop up when – and it was a major job when they were talking about the coach out of Coastal and some of these other lower, what I call Group 5 coaches of possibly going into a Power 5 job. I don't understand what the mystique is of Will Healy.
Well, I guess he's because at Austin Peay, right? He turned the program around and came to Charlotte, and they went to a bowl game.
Austin Peay.
I know.
Okay, this is long.
But apparently he's a good recruiter and was able to turn Charlotte around. They went to a bowl game.
Isn't he like
he's
31?
Well, he's a little bit, he's in his mid-30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, whatever.
Either that, he's got a really good agent.
I
He
guess.
gets the word out.
I guess. Brandon said it was Vanderbilt. Good morning, Cammy on. Thanks for coming
there's
to dinner
the
last
ties.
night. Yeah. We had dinner last night at Oso Eats in Winston-Salem, one of the greatest places to eat ever.
Now, where's that located? I saw that posted.
That is just right off of where 421 comes into Winston, right before you get to where 421 joins in.
So it's before Silas Creek Parkway exit.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's on this side.
Okay.
This side. Great place, local owners there. We don't go down but once every couple months, but they pretty well know what I'm going to order appetizers. They remember drink. I mean, now my son, he eats there all the time. Wes eats there all the time. But they're great folks and got some really good. They've got I think it's called an apple butter pork chop. It's a thick sliced pork chop that's then finished off with some apple butter on top.
Is that the Clemens exit? But before or after Clemens? On up.
Mean on
Winston.
up?
Towards Winston. Okay, it's after Clemens exit.
They got a couple of locations. Then we topped it off with a little ice cream. Little hand-dipped ice cream at another place. So
very cool.
Great event. Everybody was there. This was actually Father's Day because everybody wasn't in town on Father's Day. So it worked really nice. Let me take a break. We'll be back with more. Guess what? We're going to talk about an Olympic athlete that qualified to make the Olympic team and turned their back on the American flag. Somebody's got to explain that to me.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Here's my story. I'm gonna be gentle, I promise. TJ, good morning. Lindsay Lee, good morning. This happened, and I heard about it. The athlete's name is Gwen Berry. And this was in the Athletic, NPR, wherever you want to find it. But here's a hammer thrower, African-American, turned away from the American flag during the playing of the national anthem as she finished third to qualify for the U.S. Olympic team in the Olympic trials in Eugene. She's been a vocal activist in the lead up to the trials. The anthem has been playing once a day at the trials, and Berry said she felt like the timing of the anthem Saturday was a setup. I was pissed, to be honest, she said. When the anthem started, she took a turn so she was facing the stands. Toward the end of the anthem, she draped her black T-shirt reading "Activist Athlete" over her head. It says, according to the Associated Press, the anthem doesn't play during medal ceremonies at the trials, but the hammer throwers received their awards just before the start of the evening session, which had been starting all week with a recorded version of the anthem. Don't take it personal. She has long been an activist before Saturday, raising a fist on the podium after winning the Pan American Games in 2019 in Lima, Peru. The International Olympic Committee placed her on probation for 12 months. She'll be participating in her second Olympics in August, added that she needs to get her body right, my mind right, my spirit right. I don't need to do anything sports-wise. What I need to do is speak for my community, to represent my community, and to help my community, because that's more important than sports. Now, here's the only thing I'm going to say about it, okay? And if I'm wrong, somebody jump in there and correct me. You are an athlete who has chosen. That's where I get confused. You
are not drafted.
You have chosen to try out and represent the United States of America and everything that the United States of America stands for, unless I'm missing something. The NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA does not stand for the United States. That is an entity that exists inside the United States. But the United States Olympic team does stand for the United States. When athletes do that, if you can't be proud to be a member of this team that represents the United States, you need to find a team that you can be proud of to be part of. Or am I looking at that all wrong? Cody Boy, what's going on, Tyrone? That's one of the places, in my view, that I don't think's up for discussion. I don't like it in the NFL because you're paid to play. But in the Olympics, really? You're going to, go back to the 72
It's not the Olympics,
and the 68.
It's Olympic trials, right?
Yeah,
would
but
she
still.
Would she do
yes,
this?
Yes, she is.
Wait
and see.
No, you think?
Yeah.
If she finished third in this event, the hammer throw, you think?
And guess what?
You think she's going to finish third in the Olympics?
Do they just play the anthem of the first place finisher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Won't matter.
Okay. So
this is her 15 minutes of fame.
How do you have that much? She's 31 years old. How do you have that much bitterness?
I don't know. Who knows?
There you go, sis. That is a great, great comment. Tim Hefner, good morning. Lindsay said, a country that even allows for this type of protest is something to be proud of.
Yes, indeed.
And she said other countries would not tolerate it. And that is correct. That's where we miss the boat, I think, sometimes. It's your right to protest, but there are certain ways to do it and certain things that it should not be acceptable. It should not be acceptable at your place of work because they're paying you to work, and you can have your opinions, but you can't express – I don't think you should be able to express your personal opinions as it reflects in your work life because that's two separate entities.
Correct.
Now, if I want to hit the street when I'm not working and I'm not wearing if I'm somebody that wears a company shirt or anything like that, and I want to go out and do my protest and do whatever representing me, and we've already seen that if you're on Facebook and you're attached to a company and you do something that company feels like is derogatory towards them, they can take actions against you. Okay? Should be the same thing about your work environment. If you do something that the work environment does not approve of, there should be able to be consequences for that. That's free enterprise.
Yeah, and back in the old days, they fired.
That's correct.
They'd fire you.
Correct.
I've gotten fired before for things I've said or done.
That's correct. And how do you try out for a team that you so despise their country? Or am I missing the point?
You're not missing the point. Again, people like this, I'm done with it, man. 10 minutes of their fame, turn the page, move on.
This is going to continue to happen, though. Lynn said also, how self-centered can someone be that they feel they were set up based on the timing of an awards ceremony?
She's no part of a team. Then you or I are part of a team.
Me and Sis differ somewhat on our views of different things, but we agree to disagree. But even she sees and understands that this is wrong.
It is.
You don't do that. Like I've said, if you complain about something that is of your choosing, you don't have the right to complain. You have the right to change the situation.
Yeah.
You don't complain about it. You have the right to change the situation. Now, you can complain about it after you're no longer a part of that situation, all you want to. But you can't be part of it and complain when you chose to be part of it. Oh, I'm going to take your check. I'm going to take your money, but I'm going to complain about you. Can't do it. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I know. While we're on this subject of we and me and social justice and this kind of thing, the thought occurred to me. Good morning. The other thing that occurred to me the other day, when this whole thing with NC State came down with, in the College World Series, and they were sent home. In the name of social justice, if people wanting to do things that are fair, how come Vandy, Oklahoma State, Texas, how come all those teams didn't band together and say, in the name of NC State, because this might be unfair, let's wait 3 or 4 days and make sure.
That's what Force said yesterday.
Oh, I see. I didn't watch it yesterday.
Yesterday he said, if there had been storms roll through and they couldn't play for 2 days, they would have just waited.
Yeah, and there was a storm that rolled through yesterday as well, last night. But why couldn't those 3 teams said, okay, until you get something straight with them, with NC State, we're not playing. We're not playing the Final Four.
My biggest question is, beyond that, and I'm sorry, I am pulling so hard for Mississippi State, it ain't even funny. Just because I don't like the way it sets up. My biggest question is, if NC State couldn't play, why can Vandy play when they were on the field with these guys that tested positive?
Well, apparently they've tested negative.
But it takes a couple of days to
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why couldn't – and I apologize for – I don't want to steal your thunder. But why couldn't Vandy and Oklahoma State and Texas say, okay, go to the NCAA, fix it. We're not playing until you do. Now, there are several thousand people that are in Omaha. We're going to have to sit around for 3 or 4 days. I know that's probably one reason why they did not do it. But in the name of social justice and what's fair –
well, it's not about being fair, and it's not about getting it right. It's about following the money and whatever other conspiracy theory I can come up with.
Oh, by the way, Jack Leiter, who pitched that game 1, Oklahoma State won last night, so it's going to go down to a game 3 tonight. Jack Leiter, the pitcher for Vanderbilt, more than likely he's not going to be – I don't think he's going to be the number 1 draft pick. The Pittsburgh Pirates hold that. They're probably going to go for and as you heard John Manuel say last week, either a college hitter or a infielder, high school infielder. But the number 2 pick is held by the Texas Rangers, and that is where many people think Jack Leiter will be selected. Who is the minor league affiliate of the Texas Rangers?
Crawdads.
The Crawdads. So he could wind up probably
very briefly. Yeah.
It may be to start the season. Yeah. I doubt this year. But probably, possibly, strongly, he could wind up with the Crawdads to start next year.
Bill Klein said if Gwen Berry played for China, she might go away. Yes, she might go away and never be found. That is correct. That is the part that we don't get and understand is if you want to talk about real inhumane social justice, there's plenty of countries that you can go visit. That
Absolutely.
It's not because I don't think you respect me. They'll put you in your place and you'll go away. You know, you need to take a little larger view than just what you see looking back at you in the mirror. That's the point, I guess, that I'm making. Sis said, just so we know, NC State's claiming the national championship in Raleigh.
Yeah, the people's champion.
Yeah. And, of course, as a Tar Heel, she finds it hysterical, but she's also an NC State alum now, or going to be. Mm-hmm. And she purchased me not only 2 Clemson shirts for Father's Day, but an NC State Wolfpack shirt.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I'm not sure, and I hate to say this, but I don't hate it, but after watching that game last night, Oklahoma State's pretty good. They can hit the baseball. Mm-hmm. And they don't have the pitching, I don't think, that Vanderbilt has in terms of the
Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State. I could see that would be it would have been a great series, let's say, between NC State and Mississippi State. I think you'd have seen a lot of offense as opposed to what we're seeing with Vanderbilt with their pitching. Now, their pitching wasn't very good last night.
No, it wasn't. They got hammered.
Yeah.
One of the largest defeats.
Like 10 or 11 runs in one inning.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not so sure, you know, it might be. You know, we talked about NC State being the darlings and the team of destiny. I'm not so sure that maybe Mississippi State might be that team trying to win their first ever championship tonight.
I watched it. It was late for me. I'd gotten in, but I did watch a little bit of it. But, yeah, and I want to say they play tonight 7 or 7:30.
Oh, I'm assuming it'll be 7 o'clock, yeah. It'll be 6 o'clock their time.
Yeah, I think that's correct. And my guess is probably be a little on the warm side.
Yeah.
In Omaha. It won't be very cool.
Scattered thunder showers, kind of like around here.
Mm-hmm. We'll take a time out, come back with more here on The Bottom Line.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
In the best of times, times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Andrew, good morning. Richie said that as it turned it on for a few minutes both nights, the guy who was whistling is super annoying. I missed that. How did I miss that?
No, the Vandy whistlers. It's like whoop, 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 whoop. I can't do that whistle thing. And they do it. It's constant.
Is that because Mississippi State has the cowbells?
Well, I don't think they let the cowbells in.
Really?
I don't think so. Because they would drown those guys out.
I did not know that.
You know, first couple of times I watched Vanderbilt, but now
cute,
it's
the first okay.
Yeah, but not anymore.
And
there are two guys, as I know, there are two guys that are doing this, and they've been at every Vanderbilt game. They must be two retired guys with some money that travel around the country to do that.
That would not be me.
Can you whistle? It's like three really quick whistles. It's whoop, 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 like that.
No.
And in between, the fans clap. But they're almost drowned out. Oklahoma State's got, I don't know, it's 3/4 of the fans there are Oklahoma State.
Mississippi State.
Or why I keep saying Oklahoma State?
Because it's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Mississippi State. My fault.
We're still waiting on this name, image, likeness. That's coming. I thought this was a great analogy that Dan Murphy said 2 days ago. He said, NIL prep for schools is like building an airplane while you're flying.
Yeah.
This is on. But, you know, Richie says you can Google Vandy whistlers and find the video.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing, and Ford and I talked about this yesterday. The NCAA had an opportunity to fix this, but they wanted to do this. You know, if I just don't talk about it and don't look at it and put my blinders on, it doesn't really exist, and we'll maintain and be able to control this. And then the Supreme Court shut them down, and then all of a sudden they've got the crap to get off the pot. Jeff Taylor, good morning.
Yeah.
Which is, it's not, I mean.
What do you think is going to be the most important position in an athletic department going forward? They mentioned it a little bit with Bill earlier. I think
this will be a new compliance.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
They're going to have
so.
to expand.
I don't think so. Here's what I think.
How are you going to keep up with all that?
I don't think anybody is, because I don't think you're going to have. I don't think the NCAA is going to be able to come down with these rules that says here's what you've got to do.
There are already enough rules, right?
Mm-hmm. Because what's going to be the difference in the name, image, likeness, the Supreme Court's already said you're not a monopoly. You can't control this. What's going to be the difference in what goes on in the NFL and the NBA and all the others and college? Because now you've opened the floodgates. Now, I do seem to somewhat agree with 4 in the thinking that you may get collective bargaining will be the only way you'll be able to manage it. That's the way you manage it in the NBA and the NFL. Can't spend but X amount of money. You got to divide that up amongst whoever.
Yeah.
That may be the way it is.
And I keep wondering, and I'm going to ask him when I see him next, but if you've been up to the football stadium at LR at Moret Stadium, you look up on the wall where the gym is located, and for fans that in the closed end of the end zone, they got 4 huge banners. One of them is of Grayson Willingham, the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Starting tomorrow, are they going to pay him to use his image and likeness up there?
He could request that or take it down.
Or can he work out a deal to say, if you want to use that, let me go to grad school for nothing? Or
can't use the university. Has to come third party. It's third party money.
Okay.
Third party money. Has to be third party money. Lindsay said that, and this is true. Josh Stewart, good morning. Forrest says the most important position is going to be a comptroller.
Yeah.
Lindsay said when she was at ECU in grad school, she was a tutor for the football team. Mm-hmm. And she said we were not allowed to even give them a pencil. See, that's where the NCAA got ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't give an athlete a ride.
That's right.
That's an inappropriate benefit. All that crap is
gone.
It's gone.
Go go sign some autographs. You're right. Get some jerseys and sign their jerseys.
Four says
shows.
Four says it is a smokescreen for unionization. Look at the right hand while the left hand is making the moves, and I think you're right there. But
the NFL doesn't have a union. I don't see college football having a union.
NFL Players Association.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
There is.
What's the difference?
I can't tell you off the top of my head. But there is a difference.
Okay.
There is a difference. Otherwise, they'd have a union. They'd have like the Major League Baseball Players Union.
But the NFL Players Association
there's a difference between.
It's their collective bargaining unit.
Yeah, but it's semantics.
Okay,
I know.
Here we go. Is the NFLPA a union?
No.
Is the union for professional football players in the National Football League? How it works.
If they're not a union, then they'd be called the National Football League's Players Union, like Major League Baseball.
Well, it says it is the union for professional football players. The union allows players to stand together to protect their health, rights, and family. The union was formed in 1956. Our job is to represent the players' interests during negotiations for the next CBA and to make sure players are well informed and prepared for. In 2011, we negotiated a landmark CBA, collective bargaining agreement, after an 18-week lockout. In 2020, we negotiated the current CBA, which runs through 2030. The current CBA brought in new gains to our members, including an increased share of revenue, expanded roster sizes, sizable bump in minimum salaries, health and safety advances, rookie contract bonuses, and more.
Okay. For some reason, I thought that they were different than the Players Union as opposed to Players Association.
And then because here the NFL Players Association works from the bottom up. All power and authority to do anything in the NFL Players Association comes from the board of reps who are elected by the player members.
I was
easy. We won't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody.
I was incorrect. No, I was wrong. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that.
Richie said there was a story where a track star or track athlete was suspended for the first track meet because she washed her car on university property. She was either suspended or had to pay $10 for the use of the water. Lindsay said athletes can get unions in North Carolina, but teachers can't. Richie said they call it the NFL Players Association, but many times you'll hear it referred to as the Players Union. and it is. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
It's
After
just
reading
the
that,
moniker.
seeing it-
Oh yeah, I knew it was. When somebody is negotiating on your behalf, that's all I got to hear to know that it's a rule. That it's a
Maybe
union.
the Players Association is not as
Mm-hmm.
strong as the Major League Baseball union.
Well,
Have as much power.
from what they've been,
There is a difference.
from what they've been allowed to negotiate on the players' behalf.
Maybe.
The NBA and the Major League Baseball has done a much better job of fighting against team management and what they can do for their, especially baseball. Baseball doesn't have a cap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I think all this stuff's gonna. I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do it. I just don't think you can allow anything and everything. And right now, that's what it is. There is no cap. Jeremy, good morning. And I don't – you can't do it by state.
No, you can't.
Because then I can make more if I go over here. I'm going over here.
But how do you legislate interstate commerce if you're going to do stuff online? If you're going to start a website?
That's why they want the feds to get involved.
Yeah.
That's why they want the federal law passed.
And I don't think,
and it's not going to happen.
No way.
They don't want any part of that.
No.
Let them figure it out for themselves.
Again,
and that's where maybe I've said this before. There's really not a place for unions in today's world, in my opinion. And I say that as a kid that grew up inside of a union, one of the strongest unions ever with the Teamsters. But it was good in its time.
Yeah.
But now it's not as much.
Yeah, I've had grandparents and neighbors growing up in the coal mines and steel mills in western Pennsylvania that got taken advantage of.
Yes, yeah.
And union fought for the workers back then. You're right. The pendulum has swung.
Yeah, and that's the way it always does.
Yes.
You know,
always
it gets
does.
up here. We got to fix it. Got to fix it. Okay, everybody push. Whoosh. And it goes right past where it was supposed to stop.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And sometimes I think we're going to punish you. You suppressed us for too long, so we're not going to come back and everybody get on even terms. We got to catch up for a while.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it
Do you
works.
think-
T-Wheels, good morning.
You think one of the dangers of this NIL is that some college athletes could get involved in things like gambling and betting?
Here's where the bad part's going to come in, and this is what I've said all along. If anybody's an attorney, I apologize up front. There's bloodsuckers that's going to make a lot of money that have nothing to do with the sport or the kids, or really don't care about the kids' best interest, because somebody's going to get paid. Like I asked Bill, are these people that are negotiating these contracts on name, image, likeness, are they not like an agent? Because they're going to get a fee. They're not doing it because you're a great kid. I'm going to hook you up. No, you're not. You're going to roll in a jack for me. So,
do you think colleges and universities then will retain certain people to advise these kids before they get?
Charlotte's already done it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things
I mean,
Ford said
smaller
yesterday.
schools too.
Sure, yeah.
So you guys are
You're
far ahead.
You're
of me.
going to have to, because it's going to happen. I don't care if it's Division III.
You got to anticipate it. You're right.
It's going to happen.
Don't react. Don't be reactionary. Be out in front of
Because
this.
sometimes you get kids that are really top-notch athletes that don't go, not knocking anybody, that don't go to the top-notch school for maybe some stuff in the closet, as far as maybe they weren't a good kid growing up or grades or something, so they have to go to a lower tier because they can't qualify through the other stuff. I still think that eventually your major powers are going to sponsor a football and basketball team. And it had nothing to do with students and athletes and stuff like that. They're going to sponsor it.
Just like football clubs, like in
That's
soccer.
correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Go after
because
the European
the athletes and everybody else, the alumni and all the rah-rahs can say that's my team, but they just represent you. That's where I think it's going. That may not be in my lifetime, but that's where I think it's going. Have you got any on this day?
I did not.
I've got it.
Yeah,
I've got it right here. let me take it over for you because you were busy, and I got this.
A couple of things. Local sports we mentioned, I guess off the air. Bandy's is getting a new basketball coach.
Third one in 3 years.
Yeah, Brandon Helms, who had been an assistant women's coach at Hickory High, but he was playing football or trying out for football at LR 1 or 2 years ago, and I'd never been a head coach before. Wish him all the best. His mom is the women's basketball coach at Hickory, and his dad was a longtime high school football coach, teammate of mine at Lenore Ryan, Mike Helms, taking over Bandy's program that's been, as you said, 3 in 3 years, but they have not had a lot of success over. And again, it goes back to stability.
And that used to be a powerhouse in basketball.
Yes.
Go back to Bill Boston.
Boston, Mike Matheson. Yeah. It has been the stability. It's any program. If you get coaches every 1 or 2 years changing, then you're not going to have a good program.
Yeah.
It'll catch up with you eventually.
1908, at the age of 41 years, 3 months, Cy Young became the oldest player to record a third career no-hitter when the Red Sox beat the New York Highlanders 8-0.
Wow. And I think on this day, maybe it was yesterday, when the Boston Red Sox, I saw this yesterday, traded or shipped or sold Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for $100,000. I think that's what it was. And the owner of the team needed the money for Boston. I think he needed money to fund a Broadway show and to help his major league team. And he sold the Yankees Babe Ruth for a couple $100,000. Wow. And he said, the quote was, we need this money for various reasons, to help the ball club and to put on a show, to fund a show on Broadway. And I don't think Mr. Ruth's going to have a long career. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to turn out to be a great player. Oh, well.
My grandparents, her family, that just story needs to be told. My grandparents and her family were farmers, and they invested in stocks and farmed. And when I was getting my Eagle Scout award, I had to do some interviews, and I went into an old country store. A lot of guys sitting around the pot-bellied stove. Now, what's your name, son? And who's your parents? And who's your grandparents? You're telling that story. My mother was an Anthony. My grandmother was a Clark. Clark. Is that the Dave Clarks or the Coca-Cola Clarks? Well, I knew who the Dave Clarks were.
The Dave Clark 5?
Dave Clark that owns Eastern Lincoln County.
Okay.
I'm not part of them. And I said, don't know anything about no Coca-Cola Clarks. I said, we're not either one of those. So I went home that day. My mom had taken me. She didn't know anything about it, she said. My dad, I asked him, he laughed and he said, well, you're one of the Coca-Cola Clarks. And I'm like, Coca-Cola Clarks? He said, yeah. He said, your grandmother and her family were offered stock in Coca-Cola bottling in Richmond. Because my grandmother was related to the Cathys, of the Chick-fil-A Cathys, not directly, but in that family. And they bought that stock, but they sold it because they just didn't think there was much future in that. It wouldn't mount up to much. So they didn't like to talk about the Coca-Cola Clarks, like you were saying with Babe Ruth.
Yeah. The owner said we didn't think he's going to amount to much. Yeah. Oh, well.
1934, Detroit radio executive George Richards pays $7,952.08 to buy the NFL Portsmouth Spartans. And he moves them to Detroit and rebrands them
as the Lions.
The Lions. 1934, less than $8,000.
And they have not won an NFL championship of any kind since the 50s. Since Alex Karras, Mongo, I think, was on the team.
Was that when he was suspended? 1962, Sandy Koufax no-hits the Mets 5-0 for first of 4 career no-hitters thrown by the great Sandy Koufax.
Still probably on the Mount Rushmore of greatest living baseball players right now.
1965, Pete Rozelle, who I think was the greatest commissioner of all time. grants ownership of the Atlanta Falcons to Rankin Smith, Executive Vice President of Life Insurance Company of Georgia, paid $8.5 million for the Atlanta Falcons. Wow. 1970, Cincinnati Riverfront Stadium opens to the visiting Atlanta Braves and beat the Reds 8-2. It was demolished in 2002. 32 years. That's not a long time for a stadium. Cincinnati Reds Riverfront Stadium lasted 32 years.
The old Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh opened in 1970, same year, and they demolished it in 2000. So, yeah, it's about 30 years. Now, those stadiums, those kind that were multi-use stadiums, yeah, they lasted about 30 years. They're all gone now, right? Busch Stadium's gone. The old St. Louis Atlanta Stadium.
San Francisco. San Francisco and Atlanta.
Candlestick Park's no longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Willie McCovey, 1978 for the Giants, became the 12th player to hit 500 home runs. 1988, the Chicago White Sox and the city of Chicago agreed to terms to build a new stadium so the White Sox won't move to Florida. I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, they were going to move to St. Pete.
1993 NFL Draft. Michigan center Chris Webber was the first pick by the Orlando Magic and traded to Golden State. 1992, the first pay bathrooms in the U.S. Open in New York City for 25 cents. Wow. 1994, pretrial hearings opened in L.A. against the Juice. 1994, the U.S. Ice Skating Federation bars Tanya Harding for life. 1995, Eddie Murray, 20th player to reach 3,000 hits. Richie said Fulton County Stadium is gone. Turner Field's still there. Georgia State bought it. Yep.
Yeah.
Richie also said the Detroit Tigers have drafted more Super Bowl winning quarterbacks than the Detroit Lions.
Kirk Gibson, right?
Mahomes. Mahomes was going to be drafted by the Lions.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else?
Well, Kirk Gibson played wide receiver, so he wasn't a quarterback. Somebody else.
The Detroit Lions have just been bit by a bad bug. That's all I can say. See if there might be a birthday or two before we bop out. In sports, I know there's birthdays because I've got one. Addison Ford turns 18 today, my last baby.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
Turns 18. She was counting it down till midnight last night. Dan Reeves, American NFL team owner, not the coach.
That Dan Reeves.
Was born in 1912.
Passed
away in 1971.
He owned which team? San Diego Padres or San Diego Chargers?
The Cleveland L.A. Rams.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Oh,
LA
yeah,
Rams.
that's right. They were the old American Associated or whatever it was called. They moved from Cleveland, became the L.A. Rams.
And I did not know that. That was before my time.
It was Otto Graham.
Starling Marlin. You know what his dad's name was?
No, Sterling Marlin.
Sterling Marlin's dad's name was Cuckoo.
Oh, Cuckoo Marlin. That's right.
From
You're
back
right.
in the day.
Yes.
Sterling turned 64 today. Mike Tyson, 55 today.
Wow.
Mike Tyson turns 55 today. I don't know how I was going to forget him.
Did you think Mike Tyson would live to be 55?
No.
All the stuff that he went through years ago?
No.
Give him credit. He has really turned things around.
Yeah, I guess if you count a big tattoo down your face.
Yeah, I mean, he's become a reality TV star.
36 years old today, the greatest Olympic athlete, some say, Michael Phelps. 26 Olympic gold medals. I think he holds the record for that, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he does, too. He beat out Mark Spitz.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep. All right, that's
Jim
all
Thorpe's
I got.
the greatest Olympic athlete, followed by Bruce Jenner. Or Caitlyn Jenner, or whatever.
Really? You had to go there. Unbelievable he went there. All right. We got to get out of here. Have a great day. See you in the morning.